I mention or I tell you or I introduce you to our first guest, because he's a man wearing many hats. I'll let you hear his citation first, then I'll introduce you to him.
Okay, so, and I read, Mr. Patrick Rutherford Doyle is a veteran Nollywood actor, producer, and broadcaster known for his iconic roles in the 90s. Patrick was born on March. I feel weird calling Patrick Mr. Patrick, Uncle Patrick, but let's just let this go for now. Patrick was born on March 23rd in Lagos, Nigeria. He's from Delta State. He attended St. Finbarr's College, Akoka, where he honed his communication skills and trained at the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. He began his broadcasting career at the age of 20, working with the Voice of Nigeria and the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, and later served as a consultant at Silverbird Television. Doyle gained prominence in the 90s for portraying pastors and religious figures in Nigerian films. His notable film roles include appearances in The Black Book, recently, 2003, as Senator Dipo, Man of God, 2002, as Bishop Asuko, and 22, sorry. Bishop Asuko and Isoke in 2017 as Papa Isoke. He has also featured in television series such as Castle and Castle, King of Boys, The Return of the King, Beyond. Beyond acting, Doyle is also recognized as a media consultant, filmmaker, and master of ceremonies. Welcome to the show, Uncle Patrick, or Daddy Patrick at this point, because when I was watching Uncle Patrick on screen, I was just a tiny tot, so I don't know how I'm supposed to react to seeing such an amazing person, an amazing role interpreter in person. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, let's start. For me, I like to know, over 40 years that you've been around, that I know. Reading, I know you've been around far longer. Now you've been an actor, you've been a broadcaster, you've been a producer. I don't know if you were a director at some point.
Of course I direct myself.
Now, so my question is, how did you morph into all these roles?
The general, if you're going to put all the things I do, you put them under communication. Filmmaking is communicating ideas. Broadcasting is communication. So they're all interrelated. And it's the same skill set that you used to be a good broadcaster, that you used to be a good storyteller, which is a director, filmmaker. So they're not so, it's not such a stretch to see people who can function in the two realms. They're not even different. They're in the same realm, in the two departments of the same realm.
So I'm asking the question because you would agree with me that not all broadcasters end up to become actors or even film producers or directors.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying that generally the two things that we've talked about all come under the umbrella of communicating ideas and communicating stuff to a larger audience. So it's the same skill set. Maybe they're just not adventurous and they didn't want to stretch themselves. In my case, I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to stretch myself in the direction of acting and filmmaking. It was opportunities presented themselves that I took. Some people choose not to. Or maybe they just tell themselves that it's too much of a stretch. But in my case, it wasn't too much of a stretch because I had relationships with people on the other side of the... I started out as a broadcaster and I had a lot of friends who were into producing drama on television. Then I used to work in NTA as a continuity announcer, presenter on NTA. Some of my dearest friends were producing dramas. So in the course of interaction, I said, give me a role in this, your drama production. So that's how I started. The environment I found myself made it easy for me to have a foray into the filmmaking and storytelling.
Okay, great. So I'm going to take you a little bit away from that. There's a perception by a lot of people that the older an actor gets or an actress gets, there are less opportunities for them in the film industry to express themselves. I mean, when people are writing scripts, for example, you don't find many roles films that cast the lead actors as older people, or it doesn't give older actors a lot of screen time, so it allows people to forget them if they are not. But you somehow have stayed in the faces of the people. I remember when I saw you in Oloture, I think it was just 2 scenes that you did, and those two scenes stuck in my head and till now I still see you in YouTube films. I see you in any kind of film, in any kind of good film, and somehow you manage.
Some of them are bombers. Don't worry.
Let's not talk about that. But I mean, I see you in YouTube films, streaming platform films, cinema films. This is like you're everywhere, and you're still keeping on. What's the secret to staying relevant in an industry that does not naturally embrace the older actors?
Okay, the reason why the older actors used to be younger, and they used to be everywhere. So how do I say it? Igbalonigbanlu. So it's a turn of. I've had my day in the sun when I used to act in Ripples. Everybody has had their time to shine. So it's time for new people to shine. So, but the good news is that there's no story that is told that will be exclusively just young people. If it's a high school film, there has to be a school principal. So, thank goodness that there's still than their parents. And so, thank goodness that one still finds work. But how? In my case, it's how do I say it? I'm blessed that I do you understand what I'm saying? I enjoy the creative environment. I don't consider myself, like, for instance, when we're acting, I see some of my even people much younger than me. I see them; they can't walk into a room without an assistant carrying their bags. And I'm wondering. I said, "What's you understand? What's that about?" So I'm not too big. I don't consider. I'm very arrogant intellectually, but it doesn't translate into my interaction with people. Some people, I go on a set and I need to do a change of costumes. I'm wearing boxers and I'm wearing a vest under it. Why should I be taken to a special room to change? Do you understand? So maybe that's what they see and like, but they don't. I'm not doing it for them. I'm just doing it for my convenience. Why move me to say, let's go to? So I am speculating that my attitude on set is what endears me to them, that they keep on. Remember, as I said, I'm not doing it to impress them. I'm doing it because I don't see any reason why we should be wasting time saying, okay, let him go into the VIP room and change. Are you okay? And all of that. So maybe that's what I think. I'm just my guess.
Okay.
You've been around for a while, once again, and generally, I mean, for anybody who has been in the public faces, from TV to radio and all that, you have fans, multitude of individuals who love your skills, who love your talent, who appreciate you and all that. And you are a celebrity, even if you don't want to accept, but you are one. A celeb, one who is popular, either via TV, these days online, Instagram, social media, radio, and what have you. How have you been able to sustain life generally, living as that celebrity, stardom status?
I don't live like a star. I don't live like a celebrity. How do I say? That's all I'm going to tell you. It doesn't mean anything to me. The very nature of my antecedents on my paternal side and on my maternal side is royalty. I don't need any validation from anyone. As I said, I'm very arrogant in my head. In my head, I know exactly who I am. So all the other things that make people get excited doesn't excite me because in my head I'm too much. So I'm not. So how do I describe it? The type of car that I drive, if you escort me out and you see my car, you will see what I mean. And that's because all it does for me is carry me from point A to point B. You understand? I'm not going to kill myself to buy the latest Range Rover. Because when they do that, that's when they become unscrupulous. That's when they take on jobs that they have no intention of doing, getting a deposit for the job and taking off and and they do all kinds of things, and maybe that's when they will start endorsing criminal enterprises on social media. Then later say, I didn't know that's what they were doing. No, you knew. But what they offered you was so much because you wanted, at that point in time, you wanted to buy this new Louis Vuitton bag. So you took it, but you knew that person was a criminal. But you took it. I don't need to have a Louis Vuitton bag. I don't need a Gucci suit. And I'm not the worst dressed person in Nigeria either. So I'm just saying that's all I can say.
But as an elder statesman in the industry and even in Nigeria, because you lend your voices to some social issues and all that, how often do you tend to talk to these young ones coming behind or who are already in the industry?
The best way to talk to people is by your conduct. And they see me. I'm interacting with them. They're seeing me. I've seen young actors, young people who just started acting 2 years ago. They have what they call PA, who brings water to them in a cup and puts it in their mouth for them to drink, who bends down to unlace. These are people, young people in their mid to late 20s, early 30s, and somebody is bending down to untie your shoelace. And I'm saying to myself, you have no sense. That's why, one of the reasons why I change on set is to let those idiots see that this is how it's done. Don't get too carried away. Because there's going to be a time when they will not be cast for films. Do you understand what I'm saying? Especially if you were an a-hole in your heyday. When you get into your 40s and your 50s, the producers are going to say to themselves, because you want to continue, at that time, the roles that are coming are far in between. Your fees have shrunk. You can no longer afford a PA, but you will want, then you'll be making it a condition to the producer. Say, you must know, I need you must produce, you must give me a PA. Somebody must be attached to me to take care of my needs. And they're going to say to themselves, Oju Ekolon Tafim Fuwa now. Why are you making all these demands? And they're going to stop talking to you. But those of us who don't have that hang up, they just say, I beg, let's go and get Uncle Patrick, I beg. That's the reality. So these people with all this, they are gra-gra. There's going to be a time when you're not going to be the flavor of the month. So why don't you invest in that time? The reason I'm still doing movies is because I enjoy it. I like that creative atmosphere. So as much as possible, I don't want to use my agbalagba ability to spoil, you understand, to spoil that atmosphere, because it's an atmosphere that I enjoy. I like seeing that creativity taking place. The whole concept of putting it all together is exciting to me. It's a beautiful place to be. So why would I be the one who will be putting an impediment in the amount of time I can spend in that space with misbehavior?
Okay. So let's come back to, you said something about when you started, how you started in NT and how you got into the industry, the acting industry now.
Yes.
So there's a school of thought that believes that there should be some gatekeeping for the Nollywood as an industry now, for actors. I mean, that now everybody just comes into. There's no entry point. There's no central entry point. Everybody just comes. If you have a social media
that
account,
horse has left the stable.
Okay. Okay.
Now is not the time to even contemplate that type of thing. The horse has left the stable. Now, the things that work now are followership, online followership.
Do you think that's dangerous for the industry?
It's not dangerous. The industry is supposed to entertain people. As long as the viewer is enjoying it. That is why a brother Shaggy, I'm sure he never in his life thought that he would be acting.
He actually did creative arts, performing arts.
I know, but his claim to fame was what he was doing online. You get what I mean? He never thought that he would be in a blockbuster movie. You understand what I'm saying? But right now, the parameters for who gets a role is, apart from your skill as an actor, is also how you relate to the audience and how the audience perceives you. If you notice, there are a lot of movies done with people who are really not actors. They are influencers. They are reality show graduates of reality shows. I know, but some of them are doing extremely well. Bam Bam, for instance, is a Bam actor. What was that boy's name? The other, I forget his name now. The one that did that Glow advert. Toby, great actor. The one that did that Glow advert. Saga. Saga is doing pretty well. So I'm just saying, you can't gatekeep. You can't gatekeep those people because the audience wants them. But thankfully, those of them who make that transition to acting actually embrace it and embrace the challenge and improve on their craft. So that horse has left. Now, the world is no longer on that. When I remember a time we used to be resentful, especially in broadcasting. When there was a proliferation of stations, we used to be very resentful of people who didn't speak BBC English on air. We were very resentful. But the reality was that the audience liked them. Then they started using words like, for instance, I used to be even resentful of pidgin English stations. Say, it's pidgin. Where did you get chopulate? Chopulate is not pidgin English. That's slang. But everywhere you go, I say you don't chopulate. You understand? And they say informate. With information. Even if it's pidgin, they say you don't hear that information. I say you don't hear the informate. But but I'm just saying we used to be very, but it has now become the norm. So who am I to complain?
Question it.
If the audience likes it, okay. When I'm talking to my mates, I will speak information.
Okay. What are the films that you have worked on recently that are coming out that your audience can look forward to quickly?
YouTube film comes up every week.
Yes, that's a...
I've been working. No, but for you, as you can see, there's actually the blockbuster movies, the made for theatrical release movies are fewer now than ever before. They're fewer. The frequency of those made for, except for the Yoruba epics.
Yeah.
I was in a Yoruba epic recently. Ogidobirin.
Okay, yes. In
I was Kabiesi. You know, and a lot of people were surprised at the level of my spoken Yoruba. And I'm wondering, I said, why? I'm a Shekiri. Yoruba is my language. But people get, and I'm going to say, how is that a mystery? But anyway, so please, Ogidobirin is still in the cinemas, and I think it was a great movie. I think it was a really great movie. And recently I just did one called Aduke, which it's a big theatrical film. Yes, it is. That's what it's supposed to be. I wish it all the best. I wish that
when can we look forward to it?
We just finished recording about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So and the gestation period between recording and it's something like about 8 to 9 months. It's so long. But I'm just saying that those films they're not frequent anymore, especially with the Netflix backpedaling from commissioning our movies, which was a setback.
But YouTube seems to be picking up the slack.
No, YouTube is a different ballgame because the type of stories on YouTube are very different from what they're not. They're low budget. They're low budget films. They're limited cast, limited locations, and shot over a short period of time. But so thank God for those ones, because have you seen some of your blockbuster actors are now pure water
On YouTube.
on YouTube? You know,
I'm surprised you don't have a YouTube channel yourself.
that's the news now.
Okay.
That's the news. I am working on a slate of movies to launch a YouTube channel. That's the news.
That's
now.
the hot gist.
And I'm not tempted to want to even do a theatrical release type of movie because the risks involved are just, you understand? And although then again there's a mafia that takes care in that area, and to break into it is the fight to break into it is not worth the investment, because none of those movies are done for less than 150 million.
Sure.
You know, then you have to market it with another 50 million. You know, then when you do all of that, the release dates are usually during a peak holiday periods, and these people have booked those people for the next 10 years. So I mean, I bear them no grudge, because it's a capitalist system. I bear them no grudge, but I know that even if my movie was better than theirs, theirs have been tried and tested.
And they already have an audience.
And so leave that for them. But YouTube, God bless YouTube. YouTube has democratized
Everything.
the avenue for creative expression.
Thank you very much for coming on the show, and we hope that we can call you and speak with you when you're done with your YouTube channel, and we can discuss some of your new productions extensively.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, now.